Hi, welcome for QTP session. Today we are going to take very interesting topic called descriptive programming of QTP. Fine. So what is descriptive programming? Why we use descriptive programming and when tester use descriptive programming? Correct. So we use descriptive programming when we want to bypass object repository. We don't want to use object repository, so for that we use descriptive programming, which is very popular as a DP. Correct. Now if we use descriptive programming, so our script runs same thing, okay, or same way. Alright, in which scenario automation tested use descriptive programming? So if we are testing some web application and in that some objects are dynamic, okay, and they are keep changing on different page, so for that we go for descriptive programming. Also we know when we add objects in object repository and we write script, so we have to add lot of objects in object repository, correct, and when we run this script, okay, it will affect test execution, correct. Also we can use descriptive programming if you want to bypass object repository, okay, and a lot of company nowadays they started using agile development or maybe V model, so we can write here automation test script descriptive programming and developer will start coding, and once development is get ready, immediately we can start execution, so it will save lot of time. Also in object repository concept we have learned that when we use object repository, okay, we can use share object repository also, and sometimes we have to change that object properties in share object repository, fine, which is very hectic work, which is very time consuming work, so it is better we can go for descriptive programming, fine. Also we can go for descriptive programming if our website have a many pages, and many pages some objects are repeated, some objects are common, and each time we have to add an object repository, right, which is not good options, fine. So for this we can go for descriptive program, fine. So let's take one scenario to use descriptive programming in QTP. So we are using currently static descriptive programming, and for that syntax is object class, okay, write open bracket double quote property name colon equal to property values, okay, we have to use property value double quote bracket close, okay. So here we are using descriptive programming, right. So let's save this script first, file, save as. So we are using here static descriptive programming, okay, for one application called flight reservation, fine. So let's save this script first, right. So our first step is open flight reservation application, right. So for that we can use syntax system util dot run space, right, and we can give here file path, fine. Let's try to run this and check syntax is correct, fine. Now we have to enter next agent name, password, and click OK button. So we can write in comment enter valid agent name, enter valid password, okay, click OK button. Alright, so now here we have to write test script using descriptive programming, fine. So here also we have to do same thing which we have done for object repository. So first we have to write here parent object, then child and method, fine. So in this application we can see here login, so login is a value, correct, but what is this login or this application parent object class, fine, we don't know, so we can use here object spy, okay, and we'll spy this login object parent object class and also property name. So we can click on this hand button and click on this login window. Fine. So as soon as we click on login window, for that object we can see property name and also value. So class name is displaying dialog. So that is our parent object. Fine. Let's see where is login here. So login is a value, okay, of that object, and property name is what? Text. Correct? Property name is text. So we have got the detail, dialog is parent object. Now we can write here how to do object spy. Correct? Click on hand button and click on this parent object. Fine. Okay. And this we have seen in our object repository concept, right? So now we can write here dialog. So dialog is a object and it's parent object. Fine. So this is that syntax which we have to use. So write dialog into bracket double quote text colon equal to values login, right? Double quote bracket close. Fine. After this we have to write child object. Fine. So here we want to enter agent name. Okay. So agent name is what? Value, right? But what is here? Child object. Correct. And what is parent? And here what is property name? So click on this hand button, click on this agent name. Fine. So we can see displaying class name Win Edit. Okay. And agent name is what? Value. Okay. And property name is attached text. Right. Property name is attached text. So we can copy this Win Edit, right, which is your child, right? Also we can copy this attached text, which is property name. Correct. So after dot we can write Win Edit. Correct. And there is no object in object repository currently. Correct. So everything we have to write like developer. We have to write program here like developer or programmer. So hence this method of writing test script we call descriptive programming. Correct. So write Win Edit, which is child object, double quote, property name is what? Attached text colon equal to agent name. Right. Fine. Okay. So this is our child object. Write dot method set space value. Fine. Same way we have to do for password. Okay. So password parent object will remain same, so that we can copy, we can use here. And now let's use again object spy for password. So password here it's value, right? So let's use object spy to get parent here to get property name. Correct. So here password is value and that corresponding property name is attached text, right? It's the same. Correct. So we can write here dot, this is also Win Edit child object into bracket double quote attached text colon equal to password, right? And now double quote finish bracket close, right? And method we can use set secure. Correct. Set secure, right? And we have to encrypt the password. So here let's use password encoder. So go to password encoder, right? And for this application password is always Mercury. So enter Mercury, click generate button, copy, close, and we can paste here. Fine. So now this step is ready. Next step we have to click this OK button, right? OK button. So this parent object will remain always same, copy, right? And now here we have to write descriptive programming for this OK button. So OK is a value, but we require child object. Fine. So use child object property name. So use here object spy, click on this hand button, click OK. Fine. So it displaying class name Win button, which is our child object class. Fine. And now OK we have to use here text as a property name. OK is a value. Fine. So write here dot Win button. Okay. Open bracket okay, and text colon equal to okay, and method is click, right? For button we do click. So now it will click on this okay button, right? Okay, and next step we have to close this flight reservation application. So we can write here in comment close flight reservation window. Fine. So flight reservation here it's displaying its value, correct? So we require again parent object class and property name. So use object spy, correct? So here we are using object spy because we are learning, but when we start practicing more we become used to of that, right? We're not required to use object spy, right? So it just need a practice. So click on this flight reservation text, okay? So here displaying, okay, for that object property name and value, correct? Property name and value. So class name is window, right? And flight reservation is a value, fine? So flight reservation value and property name is text, correct? Property name is text, fine? So what we can do, we can copy and write here first parent object window into bracket double quote property name is text colon equal to property value double quote bracket close, and now method we can use close, right? So now script is ready, fine? So let's try to debug this and check whether everything is correct or not. So click debug and start debug. So debug, step into. So we have open here script. Okay, we have open here script. Start debug. So on this step you should click on, you should enter agent name. Next you should enter password. Click OK button, and last you should close this window. Fine. So this we have used debug mode, but let's try to run this script and just see how fast it runs, because here we have not used object repository. So our UTP will not going to check that object in object repository. It directly run on a application. So we can save our time here, correct? And now click save button and just see how fast it runs. So click OK button. Fine. So it's running very fast, correct? Because we have bypassed here object repository. Fine. Now let's click save, right, and take one more example, and this code we can copy and share to anyone, right? Because here we have not used object repository, but when you use object repository, so we have to share whole folder along with test script, because that whole folder contains object repository and test script. Fine. So this script is ready, right? Let's take one more example and we'll try for calculator. Okay, so first step is open calculator, right? Second step is, let's say, click button 5, click button addition is plus, click button 4, click button equal to, and last close calculator. Fine. So for this we are writing static descriptive programming. Alright. So first step is systemutil dot run double quote calc.exe. Right. Here we are not required to give file path because it's an inbuilt application. Right. Right click, debug from step, click OK. Fine. So it has opened calculator. So now next step you have to click button 5. Fine. So first we require parent object and parent object property name. Fine. So here we can see calculator, it's a value, right? So here we require first parent object class and this calculator property name. So use object spy. Okay, click on this hand button, click on calculator. right? So displaying here class name is window and it's a window application. Fine. Let's go to calculator, right? So this is calculator value and property name we have to take here text, correct? So window is a parent object class, calculator is value, property name is text. Fine. Also we can see here displaying some other property name value is also calculator. See here also displaying calculator, correct? Here also maybe displaying calculators, right? So always take what text, correct? Always take what text, right? So how QTP identify any object uniquely? So this I have mentioned in a previous video called object identification. So currently we are testing window application. So go to menu, go to tools, go to object identification, and currently we are testing window application. So select window as an environment. So for this window environment we can see inbuilt object class, right? Inbuilt object class. Fine. So here we can see for any window based application this is an inbuilt object class, correct? Inbuilt object class. Fine. Same way for web we can see inbuilt object class, right? For ActiveX application we can see inbuilt object class. Fine. So we are testing currently, let's say any button. For example, if we are testing currently any button, okay, it's a window button. Fine. Window button, right? So for window button we have to write here mandatory property, not other property name, because if we take other property name for writing descriptive program it will not identify that object uniquely. So we have to take text or native class, but better I will recommend go for text always for window button object class, right? If you take other property name it will not identify object uniquely. Fine. Okay, so that's in previous example we have taken always text, okay, even the value it displaying same for some other property name, correct? So this is object identification, right? So here we are writing window, okay, into bracket double quote property name is text colon equal to values calculator, correct? Values calculator. So we can type or we can copy also, right? When we do object spy, okay, we can copy also if you want. See, correct? You can copy from here, right? Okay, double quote bracket close, right? Now we are clicking button 5. Okay, so now we have to do object spy for this button 5. So use object spy. Okay, click on this hand button, click on button 5. Alright, so class name for this button is window button, right? Win button, because it's a window button, right? Now let's see where there is a button 5 value, correct? And normally we prefer what? Property name text always, right? But we can see here displaying property name text, for that value is empty. Okay, for that it displaying value empty, correct? So this is window problem, this is not QTP problem. So for this button, okay, displaying value empty, correct? So we can't take here text, okay, we can't take here text as a property name. We have to take some other property name, and which property name we could take apart from text here? So let's again go to tools, object identification, right? Select environment, this is window application, select standard window, and this is button, right? So select here window button object class, and for that mandatory property is what? See, text and native class, correct? Text and native class. So text is a property name, but it displaying for that value is empty, and native class for all this button is same. Okay, button is same, it's a button, correct? So we can't take native class or text. Fine. So we have to go to access property, correct? So when we add objects in object repository, QTP store in our object repository for window button these three values, mandatory and assistive property. It will not store some other values. Correct? So to identify object uniquely, each time QTP store mandatory property and if required assistive property in object repository. And same way we are using first mandatory property, and if mandatory property is not sufficient, then we are going for assistive property to write script. Correct? So in this our current scenario, for this button we can't use text and native class, so we have to go for window ID as a property name. Correct? So for each child object here button, we have to use window ID, which is one assistive property. Correct? So this is inbuilt thing, we are not required to change. Fine. So now go to object spy and let's spy this button 5 window ID. Okay, click on this hand button, click button 5. Fine. And now let's search what is window ID for this button. So window ID, okay, and this window ID is property name and value is 135. Okay, 135. So that we are going to write here. So write here dot child is win button into bracket double quote property name is window ID colon equal to 135, right, and method will be click. Fine. So this we have to do for each button now, because we can't take here text as a property name, we have to go for a window ID, right, because for text it displaying value empty. Correct? So next step is click button plus. So same here, or we can copy and paste everywhere, because every time this parent object is same, child object is also same, but only window ID is different, right? So now we want to click plus button, so for that we have to find object spy. So use object spy. Okay, click on this plus button, right? Okay, and for that window ID is 93, right? So now replace and write here 93, right? So in this step QTP will click on plus button, right? Next step we want QTP should click button 4. Okay, click button 4. Fine. So now let's do again object spy on button 4. Fine, and go to window ID property name and value is 134. Okay, 134. Fine. So this step is ready now. Next step we are going to click on equal to button. Okay, equal to button, right? So now again use object spy, click on this equal to, right, and window ID is 121. Fine, 121, right? So now it will click on equal to button, right, and this step is not needed. So what we can do here, we can write after this close, right? Fine. So all steps are ready now, all steps are ready. So now click save button, right, and let's try to debug this and check everything is working proper. Right click, okay, debug from step, click OK. Okay, debug. Fine. So now we have started debug and we can see each step here parallelly, okay, how action QTP is performing. But here object repository is empty. See, object repository is empty, there is no object in object repository currently, right? So now we are at line number 21, again F11, correct? So now we can see cursor at plus button, F11, cursor at button 4, again press F11, correct? Answer is 9, and now close calculator. Fine. So here we will use static descriptive program for calculator. Okay, and just try to execute this script and see how fast it runs, right? Just observe, right? It's running very fast, right? Because you use descriptive programming. Fine. Let's take one more example for static descriptive programming, and this will try for any web application, right? So we'll try for Gmail. So systemut.run space iexplorer.exe comma gmail.com. Fine. Now let's try to debug, and this step does what? So as we know, it will open Gmail website in iBrowser. Fine. So here we can make separate script also, right? But I'm just creating everything in one script. Ideally we should make separate script, right? Right click, debug from step, click OK. Fine. So now our Gmail page is open, right? So next step is enter email ID, password, click sign in button. Fine. So enter value, let's say email ID, enter password. Next step, click on sign in button, right? And now last, close browser. Alright, so now here again we have to find parent object, child object. Fine. So in this application, browser is a parent object. Fine. So let's use object spy. Correct. Click on this parent object. Fine. So here we can get class name browser. Okay, class name browser, right? And now we can get here Gmail, right? So Gmail is a value, name is property name, correct? So now we can write here browser into bracket double quote property name is name colon equal to Gmail, right? So each time we have to follow this syntax. Okay, object class open bracket double quote property name colon equal to property value, right? Now dot page, correct? Let's use again object spy. Click on page, right? So now for page, class name is obviously page, correct? And now Gmail is a value and title is property name, correct? Title is property name. Alright, so now write page, page is child object, double quote property name is title colon equal to Gmail bracket close, right? Now hit dot, and now we want to enter here email ID. So now we have to find property name for email ID, correct? So click on this hand button. Okay, click on this edit box. So we know class name is web edit because it's a website edit box. Fine, website edit box. And now we can take value email and property name is name, correct? Another property name is not needed because this is mandatory property, right? This is important property, correct? So take name and email, right? And web edit. So right here web edit into bracket name colon equal to email double quote bracket close, right? And now method will be set. So it's very easy, just need a practice. Fine. Now next step we are going to enter password. So here also browser page is common, so we can copy here, correct? And now web edit open bracket double quote bracket close, and method is set secure, right? And we can encrypt the password. So let's say password is test, click generate, copy, close. Fine. And now for password you have to write property name and value. So let's use object spy. Click on this hand button, click on password. Fine. So we can see password. So password is value, okay? Property name is HTML ID, or we can use here this also. Password is value and property name is name, correct? So either we can use HTML ID or name, but better I will recommend go for name, correct? Go for name. Fine. So we can write here name colon equal to password. Fine. Next step, we are clicking on sign in button. So here browser page is same, so we can write here browser page dot, we are clicking on this sign in button, so we require child object class and property name. So click on this hand button, click on sign in. Fine. So class name is web button, class name is web button, sign in is a value and name is property name. Correct. So each time we are taking here name is property name, right, which is easy to remember. Open bracket double quote name colon equal to sign in, right, and for button we use method click. Right. Now next we are closing browser, so right here browser name colon gmail dot close all tabs. Right. And now script is ready, and let's try to debug this and check everything is correct or not. Right. So right click, okay, debug from step, click OK. Okay, debug. So now we are in debug mode, right, and now it will open Gmail website. Okay, let's keep this way position so we can parallel see how execution is happening. Right. So now start debug, click on step into, right. So now you should click on you should enter agent name, right, you should enter agent name. Let's see. Alright, so now we are taking Gmail web application example, right. So same thing here also we need to follow. So write first parent object means browser, open bracket, correct, and after this we have to write property name, right. So use object spy, correct. So let's open here Gmail first, right click. So we are testing now Gmail, right. So let's open here first Gmail website. Correct. Okay, and now here we have to use object spy. Fine. So click on object spy, click on object spy, click on this browser, right. So class name is browser. Fine. And now we can see here displaying Gmail. Gmail is a value, property name is name. Fine. So use here browser, right, open bracket colon name Gmail double quote bracket close. Fine. Next is child object, so it's a page. So this is also same thing which we have done for using object repository, right. So you are writing script but without using object repository, correct. So use again object spy, click on hand button, click on this page, correct. So we want this page class name, so class name page, right. Gmail is value, property name is title, correct. So use page, page is a child object, title colon equal to Gmail, right, bracket close, right. And now we want to enter here valid email ID, correct. So now again use object spy on that agent name, correct, on that email ID. Fine. So here class name is web edit, HTML ID is email, okay, HTML ID is email, and name is also email, right. So we can use here name email, so better I will recommend go for name email. Fine. So here we can use name colon equal to email, right, and bracket close, right. Now method set space testing, let's say. Fine. Now we are entering next step, password, right. So here browser page will remain same, so we can copy and paste here right? Dot, this is also edit box, so we can write directly web edit, correct? Open bracket, close bracket, and inside that we have to write property name and value, and method will be set secure, right? Let's encrypt the password. Let's say password is test, generate, copy, close, fine. And now here we have to write property name and property value, so use object spy. Okay, click on this password, fine. So property name is name, values password, right? Copy this, correct? Name colon equal to this, right? Next step, we are clicking on sign in button. So here also browser and page, so that is common, we can copy that. Dot, we are entering, we are clicking on sign in button, so write web button, okay, open bracket, and for button method will be click. So use here again object spy, right? Click on this sign in button, okay. So we can use here sign in, okay, is a value and property name is name, fine. So better to go with this, always name, okay. So name colon equal to sign, right? Next step, we are closing browser, so we can copy and write here directly close all tabs, right? And now click save, right? So now let's try to debug and see whether this script logic and syntax are correct or not, right? So let's start debug, fine. So now you should open Gmail website, right? So we have opened Gmail website, click debug, right? So now we can see it has entered email ID, again click debug, password, click debug, right? So it will click on sign in button and again debug, it will close the browser, fine. So here we use debug. Let's try to execute this script and see how fast it runs. Right click, run from step, and click OK, fine. So it will open Gmail, just see the speed, enter email ID, password, and click sign in button, right? So it's running very fast, right? So this is the advantage of our VB descriptive programming. So if you use descriptive programming, so it will save our folder size, also script will run more faster. We can go for some development model when we use agile or V model, correct? Also we are bypassing object repository, so we are not adding here object repository, so we can save our lot of time. Plus when any object property value get changed, we not required to worry because we are using here descriptive programming, correct? So we not required to update that values in our object repository, fine. So this is our descriptive programming, fine. So I'm sharing this code by mail, right? So meanwhile just practice this, fine. Thanks a lot, bye bye.